Declaring the winner by TKO Sugar, Sean O'Malley.
Ten things you didn't know about Sean O'Malley. There's no way to know what Sean Sugar O'Malley brings to the octagon at fight night. Speaking of not knowing, let's get straight into the meat and potatoes. Remember to stay tuned to the end or you'll miss out. Number 10, his nickname.
I get asked a lot, Sugar, where'd you get your name? And I've said it a few times. Johnny Aho. You know Johnny.
I know Johnny.
Johnny Aho.
Some UFC stars find themselves more recognized by their ring name than their actual name. Sean Sugar O'Malley is one such fighter. Now, in things we didn't know, the name Sugar Sean was coined early on in his career by one of his MMA coaches back in Montana. The Sugar in his nickname actually stands for sugar, and it was named because O'Malley's fighting style was sweet to watch. As Sean progressed in his career, he eventually switched to the MMA lab in Glendale, Arizona to train for further matches. However, from Montana to Glendale, the Sugar name has stuck and is a part of his identity now. When you think about it, Sugar Sean has a nice ring and is one of the cooler ring names to be known by in the UFC. Sean seems to think so, and so do we. Number 9, he runs a podcast.
We did the Rogan pod. Fucking pretty sweet studio. He's got a deprivation tank in there. That was fucking sweet.
In a world where the importance of freedom of speech is highlighted repeatedly, most celebrities seem to have a hard time doing so. However, Sean appears to be on the opposite side of the spectrum. He isn't afraid to speak out when he has to and believes in expressing his views and thoughts freely, and we're all for it. Joining a long line of athletes and celebrities who've stepped into the world of podcasting, Sugar Sean now co-hosts a podcast with his coach Tim Welch, known as the Timbo Sugar Show. We're all here for hearing what the MMA star has to say and express about different everyday topics. Fans of Sugar Sean, including us, definitely feel happy seeing the fighter feeling right at home and covering diverse topics from self-improvement to relatability and humour. Number 8, his tattoos.
I said I'm stupid enough to get a face tattoo, but I was smart enough to get a fake one first.
Right.
So I got the fake star tattoo before my fight with Andre.
Sean has impeccable taste, from his fighting style to the various tattoos that he has on his body. While we haven't uncovered any particular backstory to the tattoo, we know what they mean and what they stand for. One of O'Malley's first tattoos, the star below his left eye, was a fake placeholder. It was only after his win at UFC 222 against Andre Sukamtath that he felt comfortable making it permanent. He also has Sugar tattooed above his right eyebrow and the word greed written backward right below his hairline. He also has a continuing tattoo on his biceps, "Only God can judge me," which is a direct answer to the people who hate on him. Finally, he has an owl tattoo which stands for wisdom. O'Malley's tattoos may not have a deep story behind them, but we can't take away the fact that they add to his personality and suit him very well. He's a tattoo inspiration for other fighters and spectators alike. Speaking of inspiration, number 7, he was inspired by Conor McGregor.
Boys fan. Finally met Connor.
I know, that was
Goddamn.
sweet. People loved that.
We were this close like twice.
With someone as famous and established as the Notorious, it's hard to find someone who doesn't respect the guy for his accomplishments. Sean O'Malley takes it further as he reveals that the Irishman inspired him. When photos of the two fighters began to make rounds online, people were wondering about the possible connection between the two, which prompted O'Malley to reveal that McGregor had inspired him greatly in his MMA career. Followed by this revelation, the Notorious had some kind words to spare regarding O'Malley and his fighting performance. Regardless of what you think of either fighter, there's no doubt about the fulfillment that comes from acknowledging your inspiration, and we feel like Sugar feels the same. Number 6, he admires boxer Roy Jones greatly. They say that real recognises real, and looking at Sean O'Malley and Roy Jones has definitely led to us to believe so too. While Sean O'Malley may not have a lightweight title under his belt, he is one of the most promising UFC prospects and puts on a show every night he fights. Similarly, the boxer Roy Jones was nothing short of a phenomenon. For those of you who aren't particularly keen on boxing, Roy Jones is considered one of the best boxers of all time when speaking on a pound-for-pound basis. He also became the first primarily middleweight boxer to transition over and win the heavyweight title in over a century after he won the WBA heavyweight title back in 2003. That's all about the past, but mentioning Roy Jones and boxing, here's another fact you might not necessarily know about Sean O'Malley. Number 5. He's already made his boxing debut.
4 years ago, I had my first pro boxing fight. I was 4-0 as an MMA. I was 4-0 pro in MMA.
Maybe you already saw this coming. After all, we did ruin a bit of the surprise previously. Anyway, Sean has come pretty clean about keeping his fighting options open. Most fighters find it hard enough to focus on one thing at a time, and then comes along O'Malley. Not only has he competed in MMA, but he's also tried out his luck in boxing and competitive grappling. He made his boxing debut all the way back in 2016 against David Courtney, a professional veteran. Now he would go on to leave many people, including zealous boxing fans and us, by not only winning but doing so in a very dominant fashion. Needless to say, his little venture into the boxing world has made many fans, including us wanting for more. Number 4, he's friends with Snoop Dogg and Jake Paul.
Going because Ben Askren was Jake Paul. This is what I've been pretty vocal saying, I think I wouldn't mind Jake winning. I've been watching all the press conferences, all the interviews.
Sean O'Malley leads quite an illustrious life outside of the octagon too. Not that we're one to complain, as it helps us know more about him. O'Malley has made his fair share of superstar friends, such as Jake Paul and Snoop Dogg. The young MMA fighter ended up impressing the rapper who would attend the event as part of an alternative commentary team alongside Uriah Faber. After the event, Snoop ended up inviting the young fighter over, where they watched highlights of O'Malley's career in his 8-0 win streak at that point. As for Jake Paul, there's not much. The former YouTuber turned boxer and Suga seem to be on good terms, and they even held a podcast together recently. It's safe to say that Suga Sean has as much of a prolific personality outside the ring as he does inside. Number 3, he's an avid gamer.
We still have some time.
Dude, this katana is bleeding out.
Oh!
Suga Sean has made no secret of his gaming ventures. When pulled out of his fight at the UFC's highest paying event in history, Sean was undoubtedly put off of his element. The event in question was UFC 229, and you might also remember this is the event where Khabib Nurmagomedov squared off against Conor McGregor. However, Suga didn't let this loss hold him back. He capitalized by creating his own Twitch account and streaming his gameplay online. It's safe to say that Suga's fans didn't disappoint him, as his Twitch streams became pretty popular amongst the MMA community. O'Malley takes his gaming career pretty seriously and at one point even streamed hours of Fortnite gameplay. His efforts eventually led him to land a partnership with a professional esports team known as Optic Gaming. In fact, Suga has also given us insights into how much he earns per month, which stands at around $4,500 from gaming online. Number 2, his hair.
Ariana Grande, smash
Oh,
pass.
come on. You just give me a bunch of hot chicks. I'm going to smash every one of them.
Okay.
There's not a hot chick I wouldn't smash, bro.
If there's one thing about Sean O'Malley that stands out more than his fighting styles and tattoos, it's his hair. The MMA fighter is known to dye his hair into different shades of vibrant and unique colours. And every time he does so, he sends the MMA community, and naturally, us, into an uproar over the meaning behind the change. In fact, some fans even assumed that the colour change was meant to taunt his opponent, but Suga quickly clarified, and it ended up being the opposite. The crazy colour changes are meant as a homage to his fans. While there are many ways to show you love your fans, changing your hair colour has to be one of the more impactful ones, don't you think so? Number 1, he's had recurring leg issues throughout his MMA career.
How I really broke my foot. It was in the 3rd round. I was piecing him up, and I heard a couple people saying he took my legs out.
Sean O'Malley can strike off as invincible due to his stellar performances. However, if there's one thing we as fans have noticed throughout his career, it's that his leg and foot quite hinder him. O'Malley has come close to losing multiple fights due to issues with his leg. When asked, O'Malley revealed that the issue is apparently drop foot, a case where the fibular nerves have been subjected to extreme damage. While we as fans can only hope for it to improve, O'Malley thinks of it nothing more than an annoyance and doesn't let it hold him back. So what do you have to say? Do you think Sean O'Malley has what it takes to replace his inspiration as the next big thing? Or is he better off at his own pace, pulling off his own stunts? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel.